Okay, for all you agility enthusiasts who want to have your own sets of training jumps that are not only easy to carry, will last a lifetime, can stay out in all sorts of weather, and are also uniquely designed that enables you to stack them relatively easily and flat pack them if necessary, then here's a video that's going to show you exactly how to do that and hopefully increase you and your dog's career in agility. Okay, to get started, you're going to need connectors. Don't worry if you haven't got any of these. You should be able to locate them locally. Just look up under the internet for aluminium connections, and I'm sure you should be able to find someone who stocks them close to you. Don't worry if you can't. We can always send you some from where we are, or we can advise you as where to get them. So what you're going to need is 2 corner pieces, 12 brace pieces, 8 end caps, about 38 pop rivets, and 2 jump cups. I'll explain about the wing nuts later. Okay, next on your shopping list is a 6-meter length of aluminium square tubing. This should be 1.2 millimeters thick. You're going to need to cut that into the following: 2 of 925 millimeters, 2 of 535 millimeters, 2 at 400, 4 at 330, and 2 at 320 mils, and is exactly as shown on the picture. The next thing you need to do is take your 2 uprights, which are the 925 millimeter uprights, and drill centered holes from the bottom up at 20 mils, 115 mils, and 492 mils. Please use a 5 millimeter drill bit to do this. Then on the opposite side of that 925 mil upright, you will need to drill the following holes as specified on the video. So 1 at 20 mils, then at 80 mils, and going up in 50 mil increments all the way up to 580 millimeters. These are actually going to become your jump height, so it's important you do get these right. So now that you've drilled those 5 millimeter holes, you're now going to increase the diameter of those holes using a 10 millimeter drill bit. Don't do it on the first one at 20 mils, but do it on all of the subsequent other ones that you have. On the 2 535 millimeter bars, we now need to drill holes at 145 mils, as per A in the diagram. It shouldn't be too tricky, and I'll give you a trick at the end to ensure that you do get all of your holes centered in the right spot. So just bear with me that you understand what we're meant to be doing, and we'll come back to that at the end. Similarly, we're going to need to drill holes on each of your 400 millimeter bars at 175 millimeters. On the 4 330 millimeter bars, we're going to leave 2 of them completely as is. We're not going to touch them. But on the other 2, what we'll need to do is to drill holes at 135 mils from each end. Once we put on the brace piece, you'll notice that we're going to have a long side and a short side. So I just want you to be aware of that, because it's 330 and we're slightly off-centering the brace piece. So please just be aware about that. Similarly, on the 2 320 millimeter bars, we're also going to be drilling those holes at 135 mils. So pretty much the same distance as we did the previous ones. Okay, so now we come to the fun part of starting to pop rivet. What I need you to do is to take your brace pieces, place the bottom hole above the hole that we've drilled into the bar, and insert the pop rivet. Pop the pop rivet and do the same with the brace piece above it. Once we've got it to that position, what we're then able to do is to align it up perfectly on the bar, drill a second hole through it, and pop rivet the second pop rivet into place. We now do exactly the same with all of the other bars that we've drilled our initial first hole into. Insert the brace piece, pop rivet it, then line it up, drill the hole, and pop rivet the second pop rivet to each piece. Right, we're really starting to make some progress now. The next stage is to take the corner pieces and put it on the top of our 530 millimeter bars. What we're going to do is insert those in. It might require that we need to bash it in a little bit with a rubber mallet just to make sure we've got a nice secure fit, but that's fine. Once it's in place, you'll see that it's nicely aligned on the edge. Then what we can do is simply drill a hole 2 millimeters down from the top and pop rivet that so that it's tightly and firmly and securely into place. And once we've done that, we should have 2 units that are looking pretty similar to this. We can then put the end cap in at the bottom of each of these. Similarly, on our 2 400 meter bars, we can now just place the end caps into place and push them firmly into position. Finally, we can put the last end cap in on our 925 millimeter uprights. That goes on the top of the bar, not at the bottom. At this stage, we are now able to start assembling our jump a little and letting it resemble a little bit more closely what it should do. So the first thing we need to do is to take one of our 330 millimeter bars with the brace piece on it and insert the 330 mil piece that doesn't have a brace piece on it. Similarly, we then take the 320 millimeter bar and place that on the opposite end of the 330 piece that hasn't got a brace in. And we should make up a H unit that looks pretty similar to what you're seeing at present. Remember, it's vitally important that asterisk, that long side of the 330 with the brace piece, is in a position that you can recognize it and know where it is. With the H piece now completed, insert that up into the 925 millimeter upright. Once again, remembering where our long side is, that must be at the top and will be going into the corner unit of the other leg. So the jump is really starting to take shape now. Now what we need to do is place the 535 millimeter leg upright into the H piece, and that corner unit should be going onto the log side of the top 330 millimeter bar. You may just have to use a little bit of force just to squeeze those two sides together, but it should fit neatly and completely in the correct place. So now that the H piece has been secured to the two uprights, it's now time to drill holes at 20 millimeters away from each corner and pop rivet those to make sure it's secure. So finally, all we have to do is put our 400 millimeter foot piece into the upright. You just simply force that in, and once again at the 20 millimeter mark, take your drill and drill through the existing holes that you have in your aluminium upright, just to go through the plastic, and then you are able to either pop rivet that in place, or you can secure it using a 5mm by 45mm bolt with a wing nut. And that's it. All that's left to do is to put on your jump cups onto the uprights, put on your crossbars, and you're ready to go jumping. I really hope that you've enjoyed this, and please give us any feedback that you might have about it. I did promise earlier that I'd show you a wonderful technique on how to make sure your hole is lined up exactly dead center with your 25mm on the aluminium 25mm square tubing. So please watch till the end of the video, and I'll show you all the tips and tricks you need to make sure that you've got this perfectly aligned and ready to do the job that you want it to do. Thank you. Should you think that this is all good and well, but you really haven't got the time, the inclination, or the patience to do this, please note that we do sell these jumps fully made up and ready to ship, or else we do them in the flat pack modular version as you're seeing on the screen right now. Pretty much you follow the same process as above, except all of the pop rivets, all the holes, everything has been drilled. So when you receive it, all you have to do is simply make up the H piece as we did in the previous video. Simply slot it into the two uprights, and instead of pop riveting, what we're going to be using is we're going to be using locket pins to put it into place. These are just as good and will last just as long. It's just a little bit of work from your point. So once again, put the whole system together as we've mentioned, and then using your locket pins, take the female, put that into the hole where needed, and then using the male, all you have to then do is simply push that in and all it takes is a little bit of applied pressure with your thumb, downward force onto the black pin, and that should secure it 100% onto the frame, and make sure that your H piece that you made up is 100% ready to operate. There you can see exactly how it looks if we've made up with the pins, so exactly the same, except instead of pop rivets you've then got it. If you want to find out prices, order any of the parts, please visit us at caniscribs.com, and it's been a pleasure showing you this video. So at the end will come your tips and tricks. The easiest way to make sure that you have your holes when drilling exactly centered on your 25mm aluminium tubing is, once you have your mark established, to then take your brace piece and put that exactly over the center of the hole. Holding that firmly in place, use your other hand to drill the hole. If you want to make sure that your jumps will never blow over, even in a gale force wind, then using an 8mm drill bit, drill a hole approximately 10 centimeters from the center of the jump, going right through both the top and bottom of it. You are then able to use your ground sheet tent pegs to push right through and secure the jump.